Welcome back. At the end of the previous part, we were getting a testimony here from Gadot, and he pointed out that the victim was using his newspaper with his right hand. But that contradicts some of the evidence, because surely he would have to use his right hand to pick up the coffee cup, as evident by the coffee stain made by his lips and the unfortunate incident of drinking coffee itself, leaving a stain right there. So it's like, this just contradicts what you're saying, mate. So what's going on with this? Like, what was his free hand? His left or his right? What is it?
Objection!
Mr. Gadot, do you remember what you were told at the start of the testimony? Okay. That this was a way of testing the credibility of your memory? I know, there's nothing wrong with my memory, I tell you, nothing. I got anything wrong, I'll eat those seeds and sing the pigeon song. The pigeon song? Care to tell us where this is going, Trite? According to Mr. Gadot, the victim was holding the paper in his right hand, while drinking coffee with his free hand, which would be a sin, and also make it his left hand. Yeah, what is this? Kindergarten? But I would like the court to please take a look at this. That's the cup the victim used, correct? Yes, and on the rim you notice the mark left by the victim's lips. Yes, there is a stain left by the coffee. If you consider what that stain is, you'll clearly see that the victim was holding the cup in his right hand. But how? Well, Mr. Gadot, the court is waiting for your epic performance. You said you'd eat those seeds and sing the pigeon song. I'd like to hear the pigeon song. Mr. Gadot, I'm afraid this is simply not acceptable. I think the witness had better go back to the park. Wait! You think I'm going to stand here and listen to you tell me I'm mad? You're wrong. I don't care about that dirty coffee cup. I know what I saw. You still insist on your testimony. That young brat was holding the cup in his left hand. Oh yes, no question. I'm a good law-abiding citizen, I am. It's that dead young hot bot in you. You spiky-haired yahoo. Who are at fault? Who? Me? What? Thank you, old man. Heard quite enough from you already. Don't call me old man, old man. Been around for 68 years, I have. Can't ignore me. Listen to what I've got to say. I'm sorry, Mr. Gadot, but... Sure, why not hear a little more? Mr. Gadot! But this is my 16th cup of coffee. So this is your final stand. Thank you, Captain. You can rely on Victor. I don't think you can. Left hand or right hand? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. He kept fiddling with it all the time. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup, too. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. We know that the victim was wearing an unusual monocle over his left eye. It wasn't a monocle, Your Honor. It was a small computer monitor, often used by programmers. A monitor? You mean like a television screen? The inside of the lens is a screen that displays computer data. It's called a HMD. It's a common tool in the victim's line of work. HD, TV, DVD, CD, all these newfangled letters drive me mad. But they don't matter. I know what I saw and I'm telling the truth. It's true, he doesn't seem to be lying. And those are the facts. In good old black and white. Left hand or right hand? Okay. The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. Now, the fact that bringing up the earpiece does actually lead me towards thinking he had medicine for his ears, did he not? So if he's got something wrong with his ears, dear God, you would not be using earpieces, right? So let's press on that. So the victim was wearing an HMD. An HMD. Alright. HD, TV, CD, DVD, what does it matter? It's none of them actually, but anyway. And you're sure that he was wearing the earpiece on the same side? No question. I can only see that side of his head from where I was sitting. Yeah, that's pretty obvious if you look at the floor plans. On the opposite table, you only have a view of the side of the victim's head. You kept fiddling with it all the time. Which side? It seems you kept an eye on Mr. Glenn L. He was getting on my nerves, rustling that newspaper and fiddling with his earpiece all the time. And then when he went and made all the fuss dying from one sip of Javachino, I wanted to say to him, calm down, you young brat. Just looking at him made me suddenly speed up my seed eating, so I could have choked. So I take it the victim was a walking ball of nervous energy. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup too. The earpiece you mentioned, which hand did the victim touch it with? Thank you. You're one of those people, aren't you? You're the type that uses your left hand to get things out of your right pocket. Or fastens your left cuff with your right hand. When the tour guide says on your right side you'll see the famous blah blah, you're the only one who deliberately looked left. Well, aren't you? No, I didn't mean... Obviously used a hand on the same side of his body that the earpiece was in. Oh, ow, ow. So if he had the HMD on his left side, then it was his left hand, I guess. Okay. Then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. You seem very sure of yourself, Mr. Kudo. Because I know what I saw, no matter what tricks you try to play on me. It looks like he really did see the guy picking up the cup with his left hand. This is a dead end. Well, Nick, what do you think? I think the guy is telling the truth. But even so, something's not quite right. And chuck evidence at him until he breaks. But if he's not lying, there wouldn't be any contradictions in his testimony. Right? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens on his specs. The only thing I can think of is that aspect of the medicine was for his ear. So why would he be using an earpiece? That would be very, very dangerous. It would hurt your ear. It'd be painful. Objection! Right? I'm not sure what the relevance of this is, but... Mr. Kudo, there is something very strange about your observations of the victim. What? You say he was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the HMD. No questions. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. I could only see that side of his head from where I was sitting. I don't think so. What did you say? You're no doubt unaware of this fact, Mr. Kudo. But the victim couldn't hear with his left ear. His eardrum was ruptured. Eh? Traces of medication for his condition were found in his ear canal. That's right, it's impossible that the victim was wearing his earpiece in his left ear. Because he couldn't even hear in that ear. Is that true, Captain? It is. Pigeon! Pretty pigeon! Pretty pigeon! Order, order, order! The witness's testimony is completely unreliable. He only saw the waitress from behind. And he claims the victim was wearing an earpiece when we know his eardrum was ruptured. Well, Mr. Gadot, a single drop of milk is all it takes to destroy the pure black magic in the cup. You disgust me. This old man is my drop of milk. Captain, are you calling me a drip? This is the victim's coffee cup in which the potassium cyanide was found. The mark on the rim clearly shows that the victim picked it up with his right hand. I'll never back down, I know I'm right. The lad drank his Javachino with his left hand. Let me put you out of your misery. Clearly, the victim used both hands. He took a sip with the cup held in his right hand and then switched to his left. That's what the old man saw. Impossible. The witness has already testified on numerous occasions that the victim died immediately after taking just one sip of coffee.
Objection!
Which hand the victim used to pick up his cup is irrelevant, Your Honor. The facts still stand. With one hand or the other, Mr. L drank the poisoned coffee. Like this. Sadly, Mr. Gadot, that doesn't wash. It stains quite a lot. And the point of this testimony was to establish whether the witness's memory is credible. And the results are clear. The testimony given by this witness is useless. Oh, it is quite useless, yes. I believe it is time to conclude today's proceedings. I am satisfied that the witness is not deceiving the court, but to be frank, Judge Frank, his testimony is a farce. Did you have to be so frank, Frank? Take that, you pompous old fogey. I'm sorry, Mr. Gadot. Can't reach me from there. I'm ordering the defense and the prosecution to investigate this case further. That is all for now. This court is adjourned. I knew it. It's like it can't be. Wait! If we stop now, where does that leave me? Leave you, Mr. Gadot? Thanks to that blue-suited young upstart over there. I'm just a bumbling old man who can't even dot his T's or cross his I's now. How is your bad memory my fault? I'm sorry, Mr. Gadot, but there's nothing I can do. I've kept my mouth shut until now. But there's something else the court should know. What? There's more? To be perfectly honest, it might not be anything. But I want another chance. I want another crack at you, you young shark. Me? He's looking at me like I'm some sort of evil shogun. Well, everyone, what do you say to one final showdown? Final chapter in this eccentric old man's scrapbook. Sorry, Gramps. I already had my 17th cup of coffee. What have you got to lose, Captain? I'll give you all the Javicino you want if you come to my house after the trial. I may be 68 years old, but Victor Kudo is still a man. That wasn't in question. That's enough, witness. I believe it will be quicker for the court to just hear your testimony. You bet, much, much quicker. Can't believe this is happening. Ha! You better get ready, youngster. I get the picture. Just quit throwing those seeds at me, would you? He's gotta be using some sort of infinite ammo code with that box of seeds. The final showdown. First of all, I want to stress that this might be nothing. I'm not too sure of it myself. The young boy slumped over the table as soon as he took one sip of his Javicino. Well, the clumsy idiot upset the vase. He knocked it right over the vase. It broke, and the strip of cloth covering the table got completely soaked. Alright. Well, how about that? Turn things upside down, Is that all? Yes, that's all. I remember it perfectly. Eh? You doubting me again? You're doubting a poor defenseless old man? No. I'm not. No, we are not doubting you, Mr. Kudo. Don't you get the feeling there's a question hanging on everyone's lips, Nick? Yeah. So what, probably. That's all I could think of. I have to cross-examine this guy. You're a bird brain, that's why that's all you can think of. Very well, Mr. Wright, your final cross-examination, please. The final showdown. First of all, I want to stress that this might be nothing. I'm not too sure of it myself. The young boy slumped over the table as soon as he took one sip of his Javicino. But the clumsy idiot upset the vase. He knocked it right over.
Objection!
Mr. Kudo, is this a photograph of the crime scene? So what? Look carefully at the table. The vase is there, intact. Huh? Lost your tongue, Grandad. I'm no granddad of yours, hopscotch. Ow, ow. Enough. If you throw any more seeds in this courtroom, the cleaners will be— Ah! What is it now? I just remembered something. Yes? Go on. Broken vase. It was on my table. What? Oh, well, you see, it startled me when that young lad collapsed. So I stood up. Must have been when it fell over. The vase on my table, I mean. The vase on your table? Yes, it was on my table. And that's how my groin came to be completely soaked. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kudo. You certainly earned your kudos for today. I'd like to ask a question now. Have I been any use at all? Perhaps that's something you should reflect on yourself, Mr. Kudo. Wait a minute. That's the case, there's more. I've got more to say. Oh, yes. I remember something else. Bailiff, escort the witness out of the courtroom. Wait, listen to me. Goodbye. Well, we seem to have been considerably sidetracked, and I'm still not in a position to deliver a verdict. The defendant has not been positively identified as the waitress in question. Additionally, there are two disparities in the testimony we have heard thus far. The mark on the coffee cup that the victim supposedly drank from with his left hand, and the earpiece, which was inserted into his left ear, out of which he couldn't hear. Wow, Nick, you did it. I therefore require both the defense and the prosecution to further investigate the facts. Yes, Your Honor. There's one more thing before I call today's session to an end. One more thing, Your Honor? The witness we just heard from. He is most insistent that his testimony should be of use, so he summarized it accordingly into his statement. Okay. You may each have a copy of it if you wish. Whatever. The prosecution doesn't need props like that. But I was really mad, huh? Yeah, I would be too. Very well. Here you are then, Mr. Wright. There are 3 copies, my own, yours, and Mr. Gadot's. Yes, Your Honor. This testimony added to the court record. When the incident occurred, I broke the vase at my seat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, this isn't a piece of testimony. More like a 5-year-old's apology. What the heck are we supposed to do with 3 copies? That is all. The court is adjourned. To be continued. Right now. January 7th, 12:52 p.m. Wright & Co. Law Offices. So how do you think the trial went this morning? How do you think it went? I got a bit crazy in there. I just wonder if that killed our chances. Yeah, I guess it did get out of hand. Mr. Kudo's testimony did nothing to help us. Plus, now we don't even know the identity of the waitress who laced the coffee. All we know is what Mr. Kudo saw, the apron straps and the ribbon. That the victim was wearing an earpiece when his eardrum was ruptured. Talk about a terrifying case of contradictinitis. I had to play doctor and find ourselves a cure then, huh? Yeah. We've got to find one for Maggie, or she's going to have a terminal case of guilty. It's terrible. What to do? Well, I'm officially at a loss as to where to start. Yeah, me too. Let's try some brainstorming. You go first. Guess we should try to put Mr. Kudo's testimony to some sort of use. Yeah, that's true. And we need to figure out the identity of the waitress and who the victim really was. Somehow, I think the key to this case has got to be a Tribulations. Well then, let's go back there and check it out again. Oh, and we should drop in on Maggie and see how she's doing. Any ideas? So, anything on your mind? Actually, there is something. I was wondering about Zinioff. You know, like, what he's like and stuff. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot about that guy. I had to beat you so I feel like we were smooching the express train, that's the one. Jeez. Phoenix Wright? You was just saying you're Phoenix Wright? Because I'm Phoenix Wright, the one and only. What is his story? Actually, I learned a little something about my doppelganger. Huh? You did? What did you find out? Yeah, I was working at the restaurant when I ran into Don Phonione. Let's just say he was such a terrible version of me that I wanted to sue for defamation. What's that guy's story anyway? Does he have to gain by impersonating me? Indeed. Well, before we head on out then, Charlie. A quite decorative plant. He's sort of a keepsake, something to remember Mia by. Sure, the office is a mess, but I never forget to water this little fella. Indeed. Right, so now let's, maybe... I don't think there's anything really that I think she'd react to, so let's move over to... January 7th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. Looks like Gumshoe's not here. Oh. Never mind that. What's going on? Feels different in here somehow. You think? Yeah, everyone seems to be on edge. What are you doing? Call in the officers for the briefing, quick. Won't you shut down the station server? Chief, quit playing on the internet. But my email pen pal, 1337AZN... I mean, it's like Liters and Princess. Liters and Princess? Save it for later. I'm turning it off now. No! Liters and Princesses. Everyone's keeping busy in here, huh? Keeping busy, more like panicking if you ask me. Something's going on. Something big. Yes. This must be the chief of the detectives here. Looks lost now that the power to his computer has been cut off. Oh well, I guess I'll just have to write her a real letter instead of an email. Alternately, you could write up some reports, just a suggestion. Dear Leeds and Princess, how are you? I'm okay. How was the show last night? Wow, what an awesome job. Maybe I should send in my resume and become chief? No. No. It must be one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself. Even pickpockets can have their pockets picked. That's a keeper. Better go with something that doesn't sound too much like a slogan. He must be coming up with some slogans for a crime prevention campaign. I'm not sure even he knows what kind of crime he's trying to prevent. Dude. Let's move on over to the detention center then. January 7th, detention center, visitor's room. I guess Maggie's still in questioning. Oh, there's no one around? But we got questions to ask her too. Maggie! Keep it down, Maya. This isn't a playground, you know. Alright, well, let's move on over to Tribulations. January 7th, Tribulations. Empty as usual. There's no one here. There's no one anywhere. And it's lunchtime too. That's it. I've come up with a new recipe. Come on. Hey, that sounds like... Just call an 8, pal. Come on, I know you can. He's getting really worked up about something. No, that's the wrong number. Looks like an 8 would have only netted me $5 anyway. What a rip-off. What's the problem, Detective Gumshoe? Huh? Oh, it's you. I was I was just I was just listening to the radio, Pearl. To the radio? Hey, Detective Gumshoe's having lunch here. He is, and he's having the twin tea set. What can I say? What can you say? Today's trial. This is a nightmare. How am I supposed to look Maggie in the eye now, pal? You really drove her into a corner, you know. Always blow apart my testimony. Why of all days didn't you do it today? Sorry, there just weren't any holes in it, for once. Yeah, what happened? Usually your testimonies are like Swiss cheese. Swiss cheese? Would he have preferred crumbly like aged parmesan? Anyway, this case has already been ruled on. There shouldn't be any holes left to find. So, did Maggie say anything to you? About me, I mean. Well, how did she put it again? Can't believe Detective Gumshoe. I hate him, sir. I mean it. I don't ever want to see him again. Something like that? What? But please, Detective Gumshoe, I didn't mean... Why? Why is this happening? He's banging his head against the wall, Nick. Oh man, poor Gumshoe. Alright, lunch special. So, did you like the twin tea set? I've never paid that much money for lunch before. So nervous my hands were shaking. So, how did it taste? Well, $20, I guess. And how to describe it? Really? It was... delicate? Delicate? You mean you liked it? It didn't taste bad to you? What's the matter with him? Looks like he's thinking. That's it. I've been trying to think of the right word to describe the taste. I just realized it's bad. That's it. It tasted bad. Ugh. It's just kind of hard to admit it to yourself when you pay $20 for it, you know? Maybe he should have found out about the price after he had finished eating. Hey Nick, maybe that's why Glenn L. came here. Maybe he heard about the super fierce twin tea set. By fierce, you mean fearsome. Speaking of Glenn Elg, that reminds me. I still hardly know anything about the guy. Why don't we ask Detective Gumshoe what he knows, seeing as he's here? Alright, the radio. So, what were you all excited about earlier? Huh? That's right, you said you were listening to the radio or something. Oh there, that was nothing. I wasn't excited. Come on, Detective Gumshoe. You can tell little on me. What were you listening to? Nothing, really. It's just the, daily exercise show. Liar! What the... a cyclock? This lunch special lobster sure is great. And why are there tears in your eyes? I just had a thought. Like, it's this whole idea of, like, maybe Maggie saw it because of her glasses and, like, the light being reflected in a certain way. It was all a stage scene. Maybe it was, like, a recording of a scene in the past. And what's going to lead us to proving that is the lottery numbers. And the lottery ticket that Armstrong picked up was the winning ticket for the previous week. So the numbers, like, he would have won the lottery previous week, but they only matched up to being $1 the week after. And that's going to prove that the time discrepancy is there. That's all I'm thinking of at the moment. I'm trying to think crazy because Ace Attorney. Then why are there tears in your eyes? Why are there tears in your eyes? Gumshoe. But I'm thinking we'll probably end this part here, and obviously in the next part we'll do the Magatama and try and uncover what's going on with the radio here, because there's definitely something going on with the lottery stuff. It's this aspect that's really sparked it for me, just the fact they brought it up as a significant thing with Gumshoe as well. Because it's going to be the case of, like, he was listening to the show on the radio, and that, Yeah, it's gonna be. He was listening to the lottery results on the radio, and he found out he won at that point. But that's gonna be like, assuming it's a weekly lottery, not like daily or something like that. So assume, because it's a week usually here that it is. We have a Saturday one and a Wednesday one, I think, in the UK is roughly what we have. I know there's other ones, but you know, the main lottery. But so assuming it's a weekly one, it was like it would be the weeks before. And that's why the numbers don't match up. That's why he only won $1. That's why everything's been made significantly pointed out around the lottery, and that's why also he had something in his ear, because it was. That makes sense why the prescription was gone, because it would be that case of like he would have used it previously, right? Like he would have used up his prescription across a week. So when you find the body there, he'd already used it all. And it was a stage scene after the fact? I feel like there's something going on there. Just the aspect of no one else saw anything apart from Maggie. Like, saw this other Pheonix, because it's clearly him. It's going to be bubbling in my head for a while. But anyway, yes, we're ending this part here. We'll see you in the next part. Ta-da for now.